morning. So the reason we all gel really well is because we have a passion for traveling. And also we have this constant curiosity of what's happening around the world. And we're a group of people who will not stop until we find the true answer. In January of 2013, a group of us, MPT students, led by our awesome colleagues, Xinru Ma and Sarah Meyer, went to the capital of China, Beijing, to understand and find out the reality of what exactly is Chinese diplomacy. Each one of us all had our secret little agenda to go a little deeper into what we want to know. However, as a group, we did have a passion for Chinese diplomacy. The video that I'm about to show you, unfortunately, cannot tell you everything that we've learned. I will need a one-week festival to do that with you, and I probably need each of my colleagues to come up and do one day of it. However, I am honored to be able to have this opportunity to show you a glimpse of what we experienced that has changed all of our lives. And before I show you this, the last thing I would like to share with you is, as an MPD student, I learned that we cannot just talk the talk, but we got to walk the walk. And for 2 years, I got to talk a lot. And I think now it's time for all of us to go walk the walk. And so thank you very much, and please enjoy this short little video.
The trip was incredible.
Yeah.
It was such a great experience for me. It was my first time in China, my first time in East Asia, actually.
Yeah.
So a completely new experience for me. Mm-hmm. But then Beijing in particular is an extraordinary city, and it was just a great opportunity for me to get to be there.
Hi everyone, right now we're on our way to our first stop on this trip, and we are going to Peking University. It is extremely cold right now in China, but we're extremely excited. We're going to be spending the whole day there, getting to know them, really dig deep into the whole notion of Chinese diplomacy, soft power, and also the relation between US and China.
Planning the trip for 9 months or so before we went, so a lot of work had gone into what we were doing and who we were meeting with, so I felt really confident that we were going to get sort of a great experience, great output.
And I really learned a lot from them, because before I went there, I thought this trip may be more about like lecturing and telling the Chinese people, like telling what China is doing and do those propaganda thing. But actually, we went there and heard all those mixed perspectives, and we feel like people there in China, inside China, they're arguing with each other. They are on their road to explore what public diplomacy is, and we learned so many different perspectives. I think that's fabulous.
We had this feeling going in that public diplomacy was being handled top-down in China, that there had been such an emphasis on public diplomacy that it was going to be a really easy process to figure out. And I think the biggest surprise when we got there was that it really isn't that organized.
One of the major differences that whoever is doing public diplomacy now in China take the domestic audience very important, and I think that's a result of the very different political system in China and America. And as we study here, we think PD towards domestic audience is propaganda or even public affair. You couldn't call it PD, but in China is a part of definition.
I think even though I'm here, I cannot give a right or a universal definition of public diplomacy. So I feel like I cannot judge whether China has known about public diplomacy or not. I can only say that they are on their way to exploring it.
I'm working with one of my Chinese colleagues here at USC, and we're looking at the efficacy of Chinese soft power. So what we decided to do was take 2 case studies, one of the Beijing Capital Airport and the other of China's international film promotion, to look at what China's doing specifically in these areas in order to improve their soft power?
My focus is international broadcasting, majorly the CCTV. I interviewed a lady from CCTV, but unfortunately, it's off the record. So, as for how effective their program are, I think that's a part where they need to work.
I went to this trip with Sarah with a focus on internet and foreign policy. And basically, we want to explore because before we went there, there was a lot of coverage on China, how China's internet is influenced with China's foreign policy and American media, especially in China's relation with the Japan and other East Asian nations. And then we went there and want to explore whether the China's internet has this potential to influence foreign policy, and with this growing dynamics, this blossoming dynamics of social media in China, what kind of other governments are doing public diplomacy there in China through the internet. So it's kind of a two-layered. First, from the China's perspective, what they are doing, and the second, what the foreigners are doing there in China through the internet.
There's so many things I think China could use in public diplomacy. I think one of the major, my personal opinion is always one of the major audience or one of the major part that now is being missing is the Chinese students in America. There are thousands of them, and I think they are a very valuable source, and I do hold positive perspective for the future.
In terms of public diplomacy done by China, I feel current public diplomacy of China is focused too much on government's role. So I feel there is a great potential to use the non-state actors to do public diplomacy, especially private sectors as well as students or those academics, all of them. And in terms of those study public diplomacy about China, especially those in the US, I feel if you have the opportunity just to go to China once, to see it, to listen to them, and I feel you will learn a lot from a single trip to there.
So, one of the things in being in Beijing is that there's a lot of stairs, especially our hotel is near a brand new subway, so the escalator doesn't even work. So we've been taking stairs every day. And when you're wearing such heavy jackets, it's really hard to get up. We just finished a meal, so the stairs are really, really difficult to walk. Okay, we're about to head out. Goodbye. Bye. Thank you very much.